Okay, it looks like a nice job here. And when I look at your style sheet, one of the things I look at is when you work like with the nav section, you have the width. Notice I notice you went down to 940. Reason why is you add padding left and padding right. And so when you ever add that, you have to subtract that. So I'm always paying attention to that in this assignment and making sure that you adjust it accordingly. And you did it correctly down here as well. So that's perfect on that. You're using that. So make sure you have a good idea what box model is because that's so important in styling. Um, I do think that our text here, this phrase can get a little bit closer to our heading up here. Um, uh, that is just basically using the margin command and use a negative value to move it upwards. We'll check that out. I do think this text needs to stand out. I love that you're using Google Fonts. You're using that the hint I gave on that. What I probably would do first is with your heading 1, I would add actually what we call a text shadow, and you offset it. Um, you basically tell it to go to the right, and you tell it to go down, and you tell it what color it's going to be. Now, based on your other colors, we'll take that brown color, okay, and then you can experiment here. So like in this case, see how that adds just a slight border there, makes it stand out, makes it a little bit more fun, depending on that burger that you're working with. Okay, now the heading 2, you can go in. Only problem is if you have that heading 2 in somewhere else on your page. So what we're going to do, I don't know because the heading 2 could be used somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a header H2. So this only looks at the header section for the H2. I'm just going to do margin hyphen top, and I'm going to do negative 20 pixels. Now this is where I might have to experiment. Yeah, see, I want to just bring it up a little bit like that. You can move Mad Burger down too. So if that's the case, up here with H1, you can do margin hyphen top, not a negative value, but you can do positive value. That will move it downward. Actually, that didn't do what I was thinking. You must have something else going on that I don't pay attention to. Oh, you have up here padding bottom and that. So what I'm going to do is take that away from the H1 and margin hyphen top 20px. Oh, you know what? It should be padding. Sorry. Sometimes I get when I so you see how that's too much, but you can see it puts the extra space there for that purpose. I also think I've been telling some students this by moving your navigation bar. And so if I take the nav section, I cut it out. I'm going to put it up here before the header. Okay. Then I'm going to make 2 adjustments here. I'm going to go to my nav section. I'm going to tell it to float right. Okay. That's going to automatically and it's going to float it to the right side of the page. Now it's not going to look what you think it's going to look like, but it's trying to float it and it can't fit in the right thing. So we're going to have to, oh actually I'm sorry, let me show you the menu page. Let's go to the menu first. So you see how it goes up here? So let's do, and one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tell the header to ignore the float. And to do that, what we do is we go in the header, we say clear both. Okay, that's going to say, hey, if there's a float above this, ignore it so it gives it so quirkiness. And really what happens is you get really quirky layouts and so forth. But see how that moves this around? Now actually I shouldn't do the nav section that way, and that was my fault. So what I'm going to do is cut the float right out and put it part of the UL tag. So I want that part of the nav list and not the nav section. Okay, and that's going to move this text all the way over here to the right side. And that might be a better choice to have your navigation bar up here so it's easier to click on, easier to read, and so forth.